seriously in decline. There still are established churches in many countries in Europe, but the seriousness of that establishment, the significance of that establishment, the effectiveness of that establishment has really declined. So that Prince Charles in England is already suggesting that when his mother dies, he probably doesn't put it that way, but that's what he means. Although she's got another good 10 or 15 years if she takes after her mother. When his mother dies and he's crowned king, he would like to change the coronation oath from being protector of the faith to being protector of the faiths, reflecting the pluralism of England, the pluralism of his own thought, but also the weakness of the establishment. Who really is going to leap to the defense of the established church in the face of such suggestions of change? And so the whole establishment ideal is really collapsing and weakening in the 20th century. Thirdly, we talked in terms of the 19th century of accommodation, that Christians facing a new modern world and new modern thought tried to change Christianity to make it fit in better. And that was a great enterprise in the 19th century, and there will continue to be such efforts in the 20th century. But it seems to me, and I may well be wrong, I had historian friends who were students of the Middle Ages when I was in graduate school. And when they would ask me what I was studying, I would say, I'm studying the 16th century. They would say, oh, you're studying journalism. And it was their way of subtly saying the 16th century was too close to have enough distance to really understand what had happened. Well, surely we're doing a fair amount of journalism when we're looking at the 20th century. We are close, and therefore, in trying to evaluate what's happened and what's important, we may make judgments that don't really hold up. I say that just to sound humble, because I don't really believe it. I think I'm right as I go along. But there are these two things. It seems to me, I don't know how it seems to you, that liberal accommodationist theology is in decline. I think it's in decline just because nobody much is listening or caring. People who used to really want to be able to say they were Christians really cared to change Christianity so it seemed respectable. I think in the 20th century, increasingly, we live in a world where people don't really care whether you say you're a Christian or not, so it doesn't need to be accommodated. It doesn't need to be changed. Certainly, it seems to me what are known as mainline denominations are in decline. They are certainly in decline numerically, but they're also in decline in influence. 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, there was a lot of caring about what the Methodist Church thought or the Presbyterian Church thought or the Episcopal Church thought. Do you get the impression anybody cares what those churches think anymore? The whole phrase mainline, of course, is sort of a deceit. We'll come back and talk about that later. But I'm intrigued as a historian that for the first time in the history of the Republic, there is no Protestant justice on the United States Supreme Court. All the justices are either Roman Catholic or Jewish. And I don't notice any rioting in the streets of Grand Rapids, Michigan, or other staunch Protestant places.